Well, we don't normally work from paper, do we, Joe? Because we're such professionals. But we thought we'd have a look at the big fish in the lake, and there's so many in here that we actually needed a printout of all the different 40-pounders, didn't we?
There's 10, aren't there?
11.
11,
yeah,
right.
I just counted them up. It's mad. So you've got an 18-acre lake, 11 40s, one common, one mirror, and one leather. I mean, that's pretty unprecedented, isn't it? There's not many lakes that can boast that kind of stock.
That is awesome.
So the first one on this list, this is a nice one. It's called the netted fish. On that side, he certainly looks like a perfect leather to me. I haven't seen a picture of his other side, but
they're quite rare these days, aren't they? The old
massively rare, yeah. I mean, there's probably only 3 leathers in over 40 in the country. Two or three. It's not many. So the netted fish, top weight 41.4. He's one of your favourites, isn't he? The boss.
Yeah, I always wanted to catch that one. Had it at £39.
Nice.
Very happy with.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lovely carp. Good name as well.
And another one that's just going to grow, isn't it? You can see by the shape of it. And
possible 50 in the
looks
making, isn't
fairly
it?
young even, doesn't it?
Yeah. Right, we've got a fish called Charlie.
One of the main characters.
That's an old one, a nice one, isn't it? It's a lovely, long, nicely proportioned fish. Bit of a character, like you said, named after Charlie Knowles. 42-pound top weight there. Oh, you caught the mommon, haven't you?
Yep, the mommon. That's a nice one as well. Had that at £38, I believe.
Nice. I think he's been up to like £45 now, hasn't he?
Really?
Yeah,
Right,
as a winter capture.
Right.
Yeah, enormous
That's a nice
long
one,
fish.
isn't it? Look at that.
Well, that's called it's called no name, but yeah, beautiful carp, £44.
Again, it's got massive amounts of frame on it. And what I love about this place is there are so many different looking fish, aren't there? And that, you know, yourself and I know you're just the same, you know, you like catching individual characters.
Yeah, definitely.
That have got their own sort of.
Yeah, very much so. So that's no name there. Oh, we've got another £40 common. Luke's common.
Yeah, that's one on my hit list.
It's a lovely carp, isn't it?
Really, isn't it? Like, again, you know, just got a brilliant frame.
Yeah, it's perfectly proportioned, isn't it? Top weight 42.10. One of two £40 commons, but it's worth mentioning the backup fish. I mean, I think there's like 10 fish that are high 30s that are due to, at some point, not all of them maybe, but at some point all of them will.
Probably this autumn, you'd imagine.
To come over that threshold, and there'll be 10 other new 40s. So,
wow.
And quite a few of those are commons. So that's Luke's. What's this one? The Chunk. So his top weight 41.8.
That's another nice one. Isn't it? There, it looks like it's sort of probably a spawned out weight or something. You can imagine when it's filled out, it just really
proper
solid.
Bruiser. Yeah.
That's a nice one as well. I haven't seen that one
It's
before.
an old looking one, isn't it?
Sparkles.
Sparkles at £40.4. Yeah, brilliant. Proper old gnarly one, yeah. And the 40s go on. There's another page. Here's a mate of yours.
Yeah, the rudder, obviously a little bit down in weight still from the spawning at the moment, but it won't take long before she's back up there, should I say.
Yeah.
Again, like a classic looking carp, lovely line of scales down the middle of it, and it didn't ruck too much for me.
What did you have that on a zig or on the bottom?
That was on the bottom, it was.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So that regularly tops out at sort of just over £40, doesn't it?
I believe so, yeah. It's only in the summer when it's, you know, drops below.
As they all do. And then another old friend of yours, the Nun.
The one that follows me around the lake.
You caught it 3 times, didn't you?
4 times.
4 times,
yeah,
right.
Different swims. Oh, I've had it from the lodge twice, but
right.
other times different swims, different tactics, you know, it's just incredible,
just
really.
Like your Joey smell, I love it.
I wouldn't get too close.
And then lastly, we've got the Germ, which is the biggest carp in the lake. I mean, that's a stunning looking carp, half linear.
It's just a mammoth, isn't it?
It is a beast, yeah.
It's so big.
Been up to a top weight of £53. I mean,
that will be hitting that again this autumn, won't
absolutely it will, yeah, definitely. And it's a stunning looking fish. So, yeah, 11 fish that regularly top £40 between, I mean, they'll all be over 40 from September all the way through to May, won't they? And some of them, even after spawning, won't drop below. So,
and then all them extra ones. So basically, within a year, 2 years, easily, there's going to be 20 40s in here. That's just crazy, isn't it?
20 40s and maybe a couple of 50s. I would say No Name might be the next one to push through. Looking at that frame on him was just staggering, wasn't it?
And there's there's no signs of them slowing up, are they? They're all very healthy looking fish. So yeah, I'm sure.
And that's without all the 30s, of course, because I don't know whether there's 60 or something 30s in there. There's an awful lot, and I don't know about you, Joe, but I know you've caught a couple of them and I've caught a couple of them, but there's enough to keep me occupied there for quite a while.
Well, Adam, I believe Cell's one of your favourite boilies for this venue and in fact in general.
It is, mate, yeah, and it really sort of, particularly for dealing with the fish at Fryerning, you know, they're massive carp and as you know, big carp like boilies. So 20mm boilies, I keep it nice and simple and straightforward and use these. And one of the nice things about them is because they're not really fishy or oily or anything, the crays do eat them, but you know, they're not totally crazy on them. So maybe glugging the hook baits, I glug the hook baits in a bit of Bailey's. And there's a guy on here who does really well and he glugs his hook baits in vodka.
How did he come up with that one?
No idea, but he catches quite a few fish and the crays really seem to leave it alone. So having an alcohol quotient in your hook baits is probably an edge, and there's probably, you know, there's a few things you could play around with, from Tia Maria through to things like what's that white, Malibu or something like that. In fact, one of the other guys was using Malibu. So crays don't seem to like alcohol. Bit of coconut complements the bait. So I keep it simple, big boilies, and play the numbers game, put in sort of a reasonable quantity, thinking that the crays will probably eat maybe a third of them. So
I've done the same myself, you know, boilie fishing over here in the past, and what I've also done is, say I put a couple of kilos of cell out, I'll also put like a key of like something a bit more fishy out, you know. So
right, okay, yeah.
Again,
that's a great idea.
Just something
I like
to, because I think it depends how hungry they are, isn't it? And what else is on offer. But like if there was a single cell out there, it'd get eaten. But
yeah, definitely. I like that idea though, you know, putting out a few fish meals, fishing cell hook baits over your cell and putting out fish meal boilies for them to zone in on. Yeah,
distraction.
crafty.
Yeah, as I said, you know, I like to use a few bits and pieces. I do like to play around. So last couple of sessions I've been sort of spodding out a bit of hemp and a bit of pellet, add a bit of ground bait in there as well, because obviously when you've got the ground bait in there and that falls to the bottom,
it's hard for them to eat, isn't
yeah,
it?
They're not going to be able to eat all that, are they? So there should always be little scents of bait in amongst the spot, and obviously, you know, fishing a small bait over the top of it, that just comes up with it. I like to put a little bag on, that's just a confidence thing really, so when I cast I know the hook's completely masked, but again, you know, there's something around the hook bait that should distract them from actually playing with that rubber, because there's something that they can actually eat there.
Yeah.
Another thing is with these stiff hook links, if you were to cast that out and let it drop, it's probably going to fall quite awkwardly and, you know, not be sitting very well at all. As soon as the lead lands, I'll just give it a little pull back so I know that's straightened out, and sitting the opposite side of the lead where I want it to.
Exactly, yeah, bang on.
But sweet corn, you know, what carp won't eat sweet corn?
One of the
pellets,
best baits,
again, you know, similar with the ground bait, lots of little bits in there. That's all just going to break down into mush, and hopefully, you know.
So you're working on the theory that you don't actually mind crayfish coming in, but you're working on the theory that by having bait like this that is breaking down, you've always got a smell there.
Exactly that.
To draw the carp in.
I mean, what I've found is that whatever you put out, it will draw the crayfish in general anyway. So
it will. Yeah.
Something there to keep them.
And in terms of, you know, I think it's worth probably telling the guys that in terms of topping your swim up, I mean, the crays are always going to be eating your bait and whittling it down. So
another massively important thing, and even, you know, without the crayfish, you know, it's worth just
keeping your swim active.
Yeah, you know yourself when you're floater fishing, you know, you stop putting floaters out and the floaters are drifted off, the fish stop feeding, you know.
Exactly,
you stop looking for them, but if you keep trickling them out, then they're constantly looking for them, and I think the same applies on the lake bed.
Yeah. What about in terms of your hook baits? Do you sort of wind in and check your rigs first thing in the morning or anything
Again,
like?
Yeah, this is one of the only lakes that I'll actually do that on, you know, get up, set my alarm for 5:30 or whatever the time light is at the time of year, and recast them. I mean, if I've fully shrink wrap them up, then generally there's not an issue, and again with the rubber it's not really an issue, but sometimes I'll just, you know, certain times of the year you can get away without this, away with not using the shrink wrap, and I'll quite often in the winter I'll just use a choddy and cast them about. I'll be recasting them every couple of hours, you know, not just for the cray issue but also just to try and locate them fish.
Sure. Okay, well, there's a lot of great tips and advice there, guys. 2 different bait approaches and they both work well, don't they?
Definitely.